Welcome. This is my first video outlining what I always intended to be a book. This has been a solid 4 years in consideration, and recently I decided that it's time to start actually recording live, whether video or audio, both in this case, because if you don't speak up, then your legacy becomes the dialogue delivered by the abusers you and your loved ones have endured. I am videoing front and to the side with my camera to make sure that everything works okay. But yeah, today, the 30th of March 2024, is the first step in actually recording this. I may say and actually a few times, but I'm not going to be editing what I present, and it is important that I keep these videos to about 10-15 minutes, I believe. And yeah, the first step is, because this is about my life and what's revolved around myself, my friends, my family, my child, I will start from the beginning. So I'm not going to introduce myself with my name, but I will outline that I grew up in a big family. My father was an only child. My mother was one of nine. So I was one of six and I was the second youngest. By the time I came along, my father was working for the local co-op, and specifically the furniture department, where he did everything regarding installation. But he was so intelligent and interested in great products and quality and loved people, that he was also a salesman. Mum worked at the local Fossies, which is the equivalent of what the fashion and decor and home style of Target, but Fossies was our local version of what Target is now. She was not working when I was born, and nor when my younger brother was born 5 years later. But my father, I might have been about 7 years old when my father went into business for himself, and mum was then included. Basically, 6 full days a week, they both worked, and we would go to the store after school every afternoon. We still had our sports, um, whether it was me horse riding or we played tennis. School sports were very much the thing. Most of the sports you played were through school at that time. My older siblings I thought were great and fun. One particular brother, Paul, was the most peaceful, intelligent, artistic, kind-hearted person. The other three, I really liked them for most of my life until I moved back down the coast with my new baby in 2000 and just saw how negative they were with each other, how jealous they were with each other, but how I was dishonestly trashed and criticized because I'm really quite confident, outgoing. I never gave in to people who treated other people badly. I always had the confidence to step away. Having different circles of friends really enabled me to do that. If I didn't like the way people were behaving or treating me or other people, I could step away and spend time with other people. And that's the same with work. I never remained in a employment for other people where people were being mistreated or anything like that. And being from a family where your parents have you around people of all ages, customers, friends, and family, that helps build confidence. And it was the same thing when I opened my own stores when from the time my child was 4 years old, and he had confidence in interacting with people of all ages, kids. He was always the one that little kids would turn to because he was just such a kind-hearted um, young little person, and his fun side was always on display. So I could rely on him as a little one to be truthful, even if it wasn't great news. And that's how I raised my child, to be more like myself, considerate of other people, don't go along with bullies, don't take the side of bullies. If the bullies are people, adults that you can't do much about, then just do your best to support those being negatively impacted and kind of back away in a fashion. So this video and the ones that are going to follow this are all based in our life and how I basically got to, in 2024, 24 years after my son was born, the journey that I've had as a single mother, being very confident and opening businesses and having great supplies, opening a store with absolutely nothing other than 4 weeks for bond and 2 weeks of rent up front, and me making my own shelving, ordering a couple of clothing racks to screw into the walls in a store and sort of start display as if I'm having like a little rough style of market. My first counter I saved up to purchase and was able to pay it off, $600. And then the woman, the cabinet maker, she talked me into a more elaborate counter for my store, which was very beautiful, but it was $2,500. But she said I could take my time paying it off. And because she was associated with very jealous people who were jealous of my father, who was able to run a business right through until way after anyone would want to retire, that particular cabinet maker, the woman, was a bit of a nightmare. That was my first experience after moving back down the coast to where my family are, of how irrational and odd people could be, even in business. Like me having $600 for a really suitable counter, and then this woman saying, oh, well, I'm happy to give you credit and you can pay it off over a longer period of time so that you can have this beautiful counter. And I thought, well, this is a long-term thing. It's not a fly-by-night. These stores are so I can provide for my child and, you know, work for myself and not have to be at the mercy of an employer that may or may not allow me to be the full-time parent that I absolutely wanted to be and made sure I was. And yeah, her, after a few weeks, her being horrid, coming into the store saying, I haven't finished paying off the $2,500 counter, was bizarre to me. And I thought she was a bit crazy, but then I realized she was just giving me a hard time because I'm the daughter of someone that one of her elderly friends was jealous of throughout their working life. And yeah, that particular jealous person was always lovely to my face, lovely to my parents, but you then realize that smiling assassin is a form of character that you should really keep an eye out for and pay attention to when it reveals, because all of your best efforts, using your intelligence and working hard and going without so that you can progress and solidify some kind of stability and financial security, keep a roof over your head, can be sabotaged by exactly that style of person. And that's what I found as I continued with my stores. Like, I'm just grateful that my suppliers gave me credit for the first month after I opened my first store so that I was able to pay them back, because when I'm in a store, people trust me. They know that what I'm telling them is true. So I was selling beautiful fabrics in sleepwear and loungewear and decor items, and also then skincare for babies. So people had already known, before I moved back down the coast with my child, that I can be trusted. What I'm saying is true. I'm not going to sell you or recommend something that is not worthwhile and going to benefit you in the way that I outline. I had, prior to opening the store, I had a little corner in my parents' shop where, because I was always up at 5 o'clock in the morning with my child, and my parents were very elderly then already, they were already in their 70s, I offered to come in and open their store right on 9 o'clock for them, and then they could mosey in around 11 o'clock in the morning. My child kind of loved being there with people coming in and out of mum and dad's store, and it wasn't for pay or anything like that. It was just that my parents were elderly. They didn't want to give up their home furnishing, curtains and, you know, wall covering store, because it was a social outlet for them. It elevated their spirit. It was their life. So I thought, if my baby and I can go in and open the store early in the mornings and then just leave, because we would come from Tathra to Bega, and have our day in Bega with my friends and their little ones. A lot of girls that I knew had started having children around the same time that I did in 2000, or 99 and 2000 and then 2001. So we would travel the 15 minutes from Tathra to Bega and have the day in Bega when my child and I would open the store. But he was always, and still is, just a really intelligent style of little person that you could have around, in a store. He was safe. I was there. It was a really lovely environment for him. Always toys in tow, but being a communicator, he's happy if you're talking to him. So that's kind of how I started with, I started ordering directly, created a business name and for myself, and had a little corner in mum and dad's shop where I sold the organic skincare that I was using for my baby, the quality nursery products like blankets and Manchester, even the little boots that I would order from David Jones or Maya. I became a stockist for those same ranges that I was dressing my child in, and bringing something special to Bega that didn't actually exist down there on offer in retail. So that was just a little corner, but I would have to save, every time I had a couple of $100, I would buy stock to have in the little corner of mum and dad's store. And then, because my sister was really harassing my parents to buy their business and they didn't want to sell it to her, she was being more and more horrid. She's very much what you would call dog in the manger, like financially very successful. She married a decent person that had bought a lot of land in a location where it was all subdivided, which made them very financial secure. But she's never happy for other people's success. She pretends she is to some, but she's never genuinely happy for other people. She'll verbalize a form of support, but she'll tear you down and trash you behind your back, and she'll do it dishonestly. But then I found that um, my sisters-in-law are all the same. They're all the same as her. And even though they all get along, they all trash each other behind each other's backs. And I was shocked after moving from Sydney back down the coast with my 6-month-old baby, or 4-month-old baby, to find that they were trashing each other. So me being me, I would speak up and correct anything that I knew was incorrect, and that only got them offside. And the longer we stayed down there, the more I realized, oh, they dishonestly trash me behind my back, and in some of the most damaging ways that has to do with your character, your ethical conduct, how you struggle and strive to work really hard and make the most and maneuver, your life so that you can put yourself in a position where you can take advantage of opportunities, even though, like me, I never had savings because I was raising my child on my own and didn't have additional savings. My parents raised 6 kids and we didn't go without, but they didn't have a lot of money other than to pay their own way and in their later life be able to, before I moved back down the coast, they would still go on holidays with my mother's family, who they would all fight and bitch and carry on, and my mother would come home from the holidays exhausted, but then she'd go again because she really loved her 8 brothers and sisters. And even though they were some of the nastiest people you could ever see in action, she loved spending time with them. She would be the voice of reason. They would turn on her while they're turning on each other, because my mum would step in to correct them turning on each other. These are all very intelligent, very well off, very financially and socially secure people that just have this innate jealousy and an enjoyment of trashing to elevate their ego or soothe all the negative things they carry around with them. That's a hard thing to kind of put in so few words, but as I mentioned, this video is the first in what is going to be an ongoing outline of what has brought me here, 30th of March 2024, and it is the start of the book that I've been planning for the last 4 years. And it really is to make sure that my legacy is factual and not at the mercy of these horrid, harassing, abusing, vandalizing, arson. They torched my car and I wasn't insured at the time because I'd gotten it all ready for my son who'd turned 17. So all sorts of things are going to be in these videos, which will be my personal unscripted delivery of the book that I've been planning for the last 4 years. So I will end it there. And if you've been watching, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe so that you get the updates. I'm going to try and do it in order so that it feels, you know, a smooth run and easy to understand. I do keep looking up because I've got a view in front of me up there, and I do look up when I think. Yeah, that's the only reason that I'm not always looking directly at this camera, and I do apologize for the blue light that flashes. If I look down, there's no blue light, but I can't turn off the light that's on my computer, and I'm also recording with my phone that doesn't seem to be catching all of the light as much. So thank you for watching this one.